Hello and welcome to another Tri-tutors video. In today's video we're going to be analysing Sonnet 104 by William Shakespeare. So a bit about our poet. William Shakespeare lived between 1564 and 1616. He is one of the most famous poets and playwrights of all time. He wrote 154 sonnets and he's known as the Bard. Let's get into the sonnet. To me, fair friend, you never can be old, for as you were when first your eye I eyed, such seems your beauty still. 3 winters cold have from the forests shook 3 summers' pride. So we start off this poem, to me, fair friend. The speaker directly addresses this fair friend of his. Notice the alliteration, the soft F sound. It really emphasizes the sense of endearment in this statement. You never can be old, he says to the fair friend who he's addressing, that you can never be old, that he doesn't really seem old to him. And he calls him fair friend, meaning beautiful friend. For as you were when first your eye I eyed, he says, for your beauty seems just the same as it was the first day I met you. The fair friend does not seem to have aged, and it specifically mentions his eyes. His eyes don't seem to have aged. Such seems your beauty still. He says that his beauty just continues and his beauty hasn't changed, it's almost stood still. The alliteration or the sibilance over here, the repetition of that S sound, really emphasizes the sense of mystery or mystique, in the sense that his beauty has stood still. And the caesura, the full stop in the middle of that line, once again emphasizes the stillness, the constant nature of this beauty. 3 winters cold have from the forest shook 3 summers' pride. So he says that since the first time that they met, 3 cold winters have stripped the leaves off 3 proud summers. Notice the personification of the winter and the forests that are able to sort of shake off their leaves. And then you should also notice the enjambment from lines 3 to 4, the run-on line, which emphasizes how time is passing, the progression of time. 3 beauteous springs to yellow autumn turned, in process of the seasons have I seen. 3 April perfumes and 3 hot Junes burned, since first I saw you fresh, which yet are green. So in the second quatrain of the sonnet, the speaker continues describing the progression of time. So in the first quatrain, he speaks about how the fair youth does not seem to have aged. Now he's going to really emphasize how much time has passed, and he's going to use lots of imagery of all the different seasons to enhance this messaging. He says that 3 springs have turned into yellow autumns. The listing of all the seasons emphasizes how much time has passed, and emphasizes how the fair friend should really have aged at this point. The enjambment in these lines also shows time is passing, seasons are progressing, and so just as the seasons progress, so too the beauty should have progressed. It should have evolved, turned and morphed into old age, yet it doesn't seem to have. So he says 3 beautiful springs have turned into 3 yellow autumns, all in the course of nature and the cycle of nature. 3 April perfumes. Now he's talking perfumes, he's alluding to the season of spring here. And 3 hot Junes burned, here he's alluding to summer. So 3 Aprils full of springtime flowers have all been burnt up in the heat of a hot June summer. Obviously this is referring to northern hemisphere seasons. Since first I saw you fresh, which yet are green. Since the first day that he saw the fair friend, in your freshness. And then he uses the color green as a symbol, because green is something, represents newness, almost like something like a fruit that is unripe. The speaker does not seem to have aged, he's still young and green. Sorry, not the speaker hasn't aged, but the fair friend hasn't aged, and the speaker notes this. Ah, yet doth beauty like a dial hand steal from his figure, and no pace perceived. So your sweet hue, which methinks still doth stand, hath motion, and mine eye may be deceived. In the third quatrain here, the speaker admits that he knows that this fair friend must have aged. So he acknowledges the natural sort of order of the world, and that the fair friend must have changed over the years that he's known him. So it really adds the sense of authenticity, and adds to the tone of reflection as the speaker relates, yes, I know, I know. Yet doth beauty like a dial hand steal from his figure. He says, but beauty is like the hand of a clock which creeps away and continues to move, but we may not really notice it. So he says that no pace is perceived. When you actually look at the clock, the hand doesn't seem to be moving, yet we know that the hand does move and that time is passing. Notice the alliteration of the F sound, steal from his figure. That alliteration shows how, or it emphasizes the stealth of the clock hand as it moves, just like the beauty of this fair friend seems to slowly tick by without really noticing it. And no pace perceived. This alliteration of this harsh P sound, this plosive sound, emphasizes how time is powerful. It goes slowly and secretly, but it makes an impact. So your sweet hue. Hue is a word linked to color, and now the speaker is finally going to realize that the laws of nature still apply to this fair youth, which methinks still doth stand. He says, in the same way, your sweet beauty, which seems to be standing still, hath motion, meaning it is moving, it is aging, it is actually changing, and mine eye may be deceived, and my eye may be deceived. What I am seeing is actually perhaps not entirely the truth. And that reference to the eye links back to the second line where he talks eyed, and he's basically showing that maybe his eye is not as reliable as he thinks. The colon at the end of this line indicates that now he has come to the rhyming couplet. He's come to terms with this idea that his eye may be deceived, but now he's going to have a little turn. He's going to introduce the rhyming couplet, introduce the conclusion to this sonnet. For fear of which, hear this, thou age unbred. Ere you were born, was beauty summer dead. So now we have the rhyming couplet, we have the twist. The rhyming couplet is extremely hyperbolic, it's an over-exaggeration, and he says, in case of your beauty being forgotten, I'm going to state this very clearly so that future generations will know that before they were born, the greatest example of beauty was already dead. So he says here that this fair friend's beauty is eternal and its everlasting nature, even though the speaker has just admitted that he knows it's unnatural to have a constant state of beauty and not to age or show any sign of aging. He says, even though he's just recognized that, he says this fair friend's beauty is eternal and it's going to live on it's going to be encapsulated within this poem. So as this poem lives on, so too the lover's beauty will be eternal. Summer over here is a symbol or an example of something positive and beautiful. So in the rhyming couplet, the speaker expresses how the most beautiful person who ever lived was this fair friend of his. The structure of the poem, this is an English or Shakespearean sonnet, so it's comprised of 14 lines. It's written in iambic pentameter. There are 3 quatrains and a rhyming couplet, so the 3 quatrains set out the argument, they develop the writer's or the speaker's perspective, and the rhyming couplet provides the twist or the conclusion or the reinforcing of the theme. The rhyme scheme is A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G. Quatrain 1 addresses the fair youth, does not seem to have aged. Quatrain 2, how much time has passed. Quatrain 3, the speaker knows that the fair friend must have aged, and the rhyming couplet that the most beautiful person who ever lived is the fair friend. The tone and the mood you can describe as loving, sincere, reflective, earnest, impassioned, and the rhyming couplet is assertive. Themes, mortality and aging, beauty is temporary, not everlasting, love, beauty versus time, aging and decay. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found this video helpful. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.